Yes, the two S, the two A's. ไม่ใช่ S นะ the two A's. The two A's. One is attachment. As a nurse, attachment becomes difficult. The one that becomes obstacle to you as a nurse. But the second one is a good A, assurance. You are the agent to bring about assurance to your patient. Very important. ต่อไปค่ะ Now come back to our class. Come back to my presentation actually is in two portions. The first portion about nurse, and the second portion will be about leader. Now we are entering into the second portion of my talk. Technique to study. This is very Buddhist. No, not Buddhist. This is technique for everyone. You don't have to be Buddhist, but it is the Buddhists who actually teach us this. It is Pali word Suchipuli. Suchipuli. All the Thai people know, but none of them practice. I'm teasing them. Su is from the word Sutta. Knowledge comes from listening. So when you have listened, like I come and talk, you listen all the time. But Ji is from the word Citta, to think. Unless you take in the information, you are being critical about it. This is what Lung Mae said, whether it's true or not. I don't believe it. I don't agree with her. No, that kind of critical situation must be going in your mind. No? Oh, she said that. Yes, that's true. I never thought about it. All the time you're thinking like this. No, so that Ji is Citta. Citta is to think. And then, of course, when you don't agree, you need to Puccha. Puccha is to ask questions. Whenever Mother, I don't agree with you. I thought it should be like this. Then we are making a great conversation. And when you have already got the points, you have understood, you got the points, then you Likhit, you write down. You don't write down that which we have not quite agreed on yet. Don't write down on things that I was just giving only examples. Write down only notes, jot points. So this Suchipuli again works. It works for my mother. It works for my grandmother, and it works for me. So now, Suchipuli, จำได้นะลูกนะ Sutta, listen, and don't listen and then it goes over. Through these ears and it goes off this way. No good. Then you think and you ask question. And then you write down. When students come to visit us in our temple, if they come without note, without anything to write down, I'm just wasting my breath, speaking to them, because they will forget. You need to write down. At this age, I write down when I go abroad, when I go to listen to any talk, anyone who is giving a talk, I always jot down. Because it's a good reminder, when you read it back again, it's wonderful. And I still write for weekly magazine. I still write, so whatever I see, like I'm coming to this class, already there is an article swimming in my head that I'm going back to write about, talking to nurses. That will be the title of my article. Like that, no? So this Suchipuli works from then and it still works now. But more important to you is, and you have to develop a new attitude that it is not enough to study. You must know that you are going to be teacher. You must know that you're going to be leader. How are you going to convey this? How are you going to convey this knowledge? Unless you really are critical about it, ask again and again until you have really thoroughly understood. Because you're going to be handing down this knowledge. So when you have that, great sense of learning, when you realize that you are not learning for yourself, you are learning for others. you are learning to teach others. With that commitment, your learning become deep-rooted. Only then your learning become deep-rooted. As the first bhikkhuni, I'm the first bhikkhuni in this country, and I was fully aware. I am still fully aware that whatever I do will set a pattern, will set a form, a format for others. So when I was studying with my teacher, she was telling me that when I was first ordained, the very first thing she told me to put a mark on the corner of my robe. ภาษาพระเรียกว่าทำพินทุผ้า Then you have to say กะปังพินทุงกะโรมิ you are making a mark. You say that and you make mark on it. Now when you make a mark is a dot. You are supposed to make 3 dots. You say the first dot, as you are putting down dots, you say kapang pintung karumi. The second one, kapang pintung karumi. The third one, kapang pintung karumi. Now my teacher said, she's a Sri Lankan. She said, make this dot as big as a peacock's eye. Peacock eye. How big is that? I never look at peacock's eye. นกยูงบอกว่าให้ทำเนี่ยนะคะทำจุดเนี่ยให้โตเท่ากับ peacock's eyes. I never look at peacock's eyes. But this is literally from the text. She is repeating to me literally from the text because in your area, in India, Mayur, no? Mayur is very, very popular. So you are saying it out of something that is common to the people. But talking to a Thai person, as big as a peacock eye, I cannot imagine how big it is. So I know I'm going to be teaching my students, no? So I have to ask, so I really make my face like that, Then my teacher knew. Venerable Dhammananda, you have any question? She was so polite, She was so polite. She asked me if I have questions. Of course, I was having problem imagining how big is this peacock's eyes. Then she said, okay, as big as the head of the matchstick. The head of the matchstick. In fact, it should be a little bigger than that. So we always make a mark on the rope that big, that big, and must be with permanent ink. Permanent ink. Now you said permanent ink. Permanent ink is only in this present days, no? In your time, when you were young, when you were little, we were not talking about permanent ink. So what kind of permanent ink they could be talking about? Then she showed me the betel leaf, no? Betel leaf, the one that ban, that you eat ban. Betel leaf, you fold the leaves and you put it on the cloth and you have something scratch on it, then it leaves deep dark mark on it. That is permanent ink in the olden days. So this kind of conversation is because I have to teach. I am aware that it is not enough that I study from her, but I have to teach others. So I have to know thoroughly. Understand? Understand? So you are in a situation that you are not studying for yourself only. You are studying in order to teach. So you are studying for others. Right? Very important awareness that it is not sufficient that you study, just simply that you pass maybe a C. Suppose, for graduates, a C is good enough for them. But for you, no. อาจารย์ก็ต้องได้เท่าไหร่นะ
At least B.
At least B. You say, so don't be happy with a B. Please, don't be happy with a B. You have to aim higher than that. Because you're going to be a teacher.
B is the lowest.
Lowest, yes. Understand? So don't study just simply to get a B. No. You have to get an A because you have to teach your students and your students ask you, what did you get? I got only a B. And you are teaching your students so that your students would get an A? No. Right? Right? So you must aim A. You must aim at A. Get the highest because you have to show this credential paper. You have to be proud to show it to your students. Right? Right? So like that, you have to come with this attitude. So the technique to study is not for yourself. Not for yourself, but so that you can teach others. Huh? Okay, ต่อไปนะคะ Yes, not enough to know for yourself, Because you're going to be a leader, you have to know enough to teach, to guide, and to show yourself, I have done it. Like that, then it becomes, this attitude must be clear in your mind when you study. So therefore, you need to have a change of attitude. A teacher is no more one who knows everything now in this present world. In the olden days, when I was young, a teacher is the one who knows everything, and you listen to the teacher completely. You sit at the feet of the teacher, and whatever the teacher gives you, that's it. Not now. Not now. Because of this IT world has taken us to a point where everyone has the same access to information. Sometimes our students have more information than us. So a teacher may have less information than her students. That's all right. That's all right. But a teacher must be able to suggest how to get information. A teacher must be able to deal with information, what to select and what to throw away. This is our work now. This is our responsibility now as a teacher. Don't compete with your students so that you have all information. Some information are hopeless, bogus. You don't need it.
Yes.
You don't need it, So that you must be able to guide your student to go to the right one. One of my sons was very interested in mechanic. So when he went to do his certificate in mechanic, they were discussing about tires, the car tires, yang law. And then the teacher was insisting that on the tire it must be ดอกยางว่าไงลูกภาษาอังกฤษว่าไงดอกยาง thread I think they call it thread on the wheel on the what you call on the tire what you call it I'm depending on my Islam on the wheel what do you call the design on the wheel on the tireลูกเข้าใจใช่ไหมล้อดอกยางนะคะ so not the cycle no not the cycle the design on the tire yeah the groove the groove on the tire now the teacher was asking whether it must have this groove มีไหมลูกยางที่ไม่มีดอกมีไหมno ครูเนี่ยนะคะครูเนี่ยไม่รู้ว่ายางสามารถจะเป็นยางที่ไม่มีดอกแต่ลูกศิษย์น่ะรู้ลูกศิษย์ก็ยืนยันว่ามียางที่ไม่มีดอกเนี่ยนะคะ so the student insists that there are such tires without the groove but the teacher didn't know the teacher insisting that the student is wrong ในที่เขาแข่งกันนะคะไม่มีดอกนะคะเขาใช้ friction it works with friction there is no thread no groove on the wheel no groove เพราะฉะนั้นมีนะยางล้อยางที่ไม่มีดอกเนี่ยมีนะคะแต่ก็ใช้ friction เป็นตัวขับเคลื่อน like this I just give you an example that sometimes a teacher knows less information than students so do not insist that you know everything no Confucius is องค์จื้อนะคะ is a Chinese philosopher way back in the 6th century BC every time when he said something he would say something like this as much as I know เท่าที่รู้อะนะคะมันเป็นอย่างนี้คือ as much as I know it is something like this but there may be something even beyond this no even beyond this so in our situation in our time I think it's important that we know our limitation our own limitation when I said our own limitation like myself I have limitation like I don't lie like this young generation I don't get in Facebook That's my limitation. But I listen to people, when they have Facebook and when they are constantly on this line. They come with lots of problems. They come with lots of emotional up and down. So because you line, because you have this Facebook,
Yes.
you are constantly in this emotional อารมณ์มาลูกจะต้องรับข่าวดีข่าวไม่ดีใครก็ว่าลูกอะไรแต่อะไรลูกนะลูกรับได้มั้ยลูกรับไม่ได้อย่าไปไลน์มันลูกยังรับไม่ได้ลูกไม่ต้องไปเล่น Facebook เพราะว่ามันจะมาทุกวันนึงหลายๆครั้งลูกจะถูกอารมณ์ของลูกนั่นแหละจะกระทบเยอะมากเลย and most of the time I just telling them Thai people are crazy now they're so crazy all the time looking at this little screen, 4 of them in a car. Instead of making a conversation among the 4 of them, all of them
Yes.
connecting with the world outside. They are not interested in the world among the 4 of them. So, unless and until you have that stability, emotional stability, you should not be on Facebook. You should not be online. Because there's always this swing, emotional swing all the time with all the information that feeds in on a daily basis. So sometimes we need to be wise, not to be so modern. Because to be modern, you have to sacrifice many other things. To be in fashion, you need to sacrifice many things. Then now we know that we know. As a teacher, we may not be the one who have all the information. It's all right, but we must be able to guide them. ถูกไหมคะ